to What's Right with the World with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello, welcome to the show. So we're going to talk about something else that's right with the world.
Seems like that's what we do every episode.
It is. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So what do you got that's right with the world, Ben?
All right. Well, today our article comes from CBS Boston, but I actually had a bunch of articles to choose from about this, and it is about a possible breakthrough in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. It has been made by researchers at the Cleveland Clinic. Researchers have been able to completely reverse the disease in mice by gradually reducing the levels of an enzyme called BACE1. One of the first signs of Alzheimer's is a buildup of this plaque in the brain, which interrupts connection between neurons. Scientists took 75-day-old mice with the changes of Alzheimer's and slowly lowered the levels of BACE1, so that by the time they were 10 months old, there was no plaque left in their brains at all. The mice also had improved learning and memory.
Wow.
So this could be a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, and which is important. It's, like I'm exposed to a lot of different issues, we'll say, health issues and personal issues and lots of different things through life coaching to help people deal with different things. And Alzheimer's does come up, at times. And it's difficult, man. It's really, it's one of those things that, most of the time I can just kind of sit down and go, okay, let me try to understand this in a spiritual perspective. And Alzheimer's is one of those ones that it's difficult. It's, it's more difficult than most situations to kind of view from a spiritual perspective. Not impossible, just more difficult. And it's, some very close friends of mine, their father has been going through it for a number of years and is really at the end, at this point, nearing the end. And it's, so I've seen what they've gone through and the struggles, and I've only seen a small portion of it. So it's, whenever I hear something about this, it really sparks my interest. So to see that they're making grounds with this is wonderful, because, to watch somebody go through that process is difficult. It's difficult for the family. And I was actually looking at an article, one of the links that you had sent to me, and they said that a team in California successfully identified the protein associated with it and then managed to prevent it damaging human neuron cells. So it could open the door for a potential new drug capable of halting the disease. But they said that it's only been tried on collections of cells. So I guess they're trying it on collections of human cells in a laboratory.
Yeah.
And it is working, so which is wonderful. But they haven't tried it, I guess, in a human yet.
And that's good. So it's the same protein that we're talking about in both articles, and something that we talked about when we talked about the cancer research in a recent episode is the reason why it's testing is so difficult is because just because something works on the mice that they're able to test it on doesn't always mean that it's going to translate. So the fact that they are able to have tested these things in mice and now moving them on to cells in a lab, human cells in a lab,
right,
is means that there should be a ton of hope.
Yeah,
for this.
It is. It's hopeful, and that's what we need. Is hope, and because with that hope, we can continue walking in a direction, and then get to a place where this is behind us. There's been many diseases in the past that that were not understood back in earlier times of human history that are no longer an issue now. So hopefully Alzheimer's will be one of those things soon that we can figure out and just kind of put it behind us and say, thank God we learned from that and found and use the technology and the research and all the, the people the families who have suffered from this, that's actually something that's nice, is like, it's difficult to go through, watching a family member suffer or a friend suffer. But a lot of people that go through this, one of the ways they help deal with it is they bring attention and money towards the research of curing it. And, and that's how things can get done, is so it's, so those people didn't suffer in vain. It's like if we bring attention to it and we go, oh my goodness, this is not good that these people have had to deal with this. How can we prevent other people from dealing with it in the future? And we bring the money and the research and the attention necessary to find the cure, then then you can feel like you're heading in the direction of positivity and hope, so somebody else doesn't have to struggle with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the scariest diseases, I think, personally. Like, in my experience, anybody who's ever been touched by Alzheimer's in any way, through a relative or a family friend, or watching a relative or family friend deal with Alzheimer's, in a separate situation from that person. So even if you're you're third person watching somebody go through with it, it's not something that you ever forget. Like, no, it's a horrifying situation.
You just can't look at it and go, oh yeah, but at least this.
Yeah.
No, it's just, it's not, it's difficult. It's just plain difficult.
So this is really good that there's help. And we're going to, we'll put both articles, the description for both articles in the description of this episode.
Yeah. So we'll just keep putting attention and energy towards the hope, towards the solution, and eventually we'll get there. If, all we focus on is the negative and the problem, then, that's not what we need. So this gives us hope. So we're just going to keep putting energy towards that and continue walking towards that solution. So that's it for this one. Thanks for listening.
Glenn is available for life coaching sessions, in person or via phone and Skype. To book an appointment or for more information, go to glennambrose.com, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, or click the link in the description of this episode.